Hey gang, let's have some fun. I've been getting comments from my friends and coworkers, and my coworkers pointed to me that I say some pretty funny things sometimes. Now Chloe here has been cutting out a lot of the silliness. I use extra words, I talk to myself. That's not what radical acceptance is about, Mana. That's not what it does, Mana. They probably anticipated it to be worse than it was. Why am I making assumptions? I don't know why. God damn it. Mana, those go hand in hand. That was so fake. Ah, I'm horrible. But there are some things that I say that are funny, but also I find can be really effective in a business setting. So I wanted to share those with you. Now, one of the things that I say all the time is if I'm asked a question, I try to build a list in giving an answer. So I'll say, there's two things that, except there's always more than two things. But for some reason, I always say two. And two, because I always do the one and two and then I forget what two is. Number one is stop. Organizational structure, then mobile first. Oh, pop sockets. Number 6. And I think I started doing that to keep my answers short and not overwhelm with what I'm gonna say. So I try to restrict myself to 2, but in many instances, there's more than 3 options or a longer list. But the idea there is that it helps set expectations with your audience, that you're gonna give them 2 things that they can walk away with. And it can be a pretty powerful, effective way to deliver an answer and make sure that they stay tuned in, that they actually hear you. Oh, really? I love powerful words. As Chloe just pointed, powerful is one of my favorite words, and effective and impactful, because that's how I want to be in my communication. This is a really powerful, I always have to do these things where I say, this is really important, this is really powerful. Epidemic, stop. So it's really important. I said really important again, God damn it. One of my employees said that one of the questions I like to ask is, what does this mean to your success? And it's a funny way to ask for somebody's purpose or objectives. But what I've discovered is that a lot of times there's the stated objective, and then, like it or not, a lot of times ego is involved. A lot of times the person who tells us what they want to accomplish also wants that promotion. They want to look good to their bosses. They want to impress an ex-girlfriend. I don't know. So I often ask questions that make people think a little bit deeper than just the business objectives or marketing objectives that they give us. I have my ways of asking questions that are unusual, but I also often ask permission to ask a question. Because a lot of times I don't know if somebody comes to me to vent or to get my opinion, feedback, help. So oftentimes I will ask, let me know, or I'll say, let me know if you'd like my help or my thoughts on this situation. And sometimes after somebody tells me what they're going through, I will first say, may I tell you what I think? I, again, didn't realize that I do it, but one of my employees pointed it out to me. And she said that that's a very effective way to give that feedback or encourage somebody to make a change, because you're not telling them what to do. You ask them for permission to help them out. Didn't know I was doing it, but sounds pretty cool. I often say to myself, what do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And what do we need to continue doing? What I see most people in the business world do is look at data and try to analyze a situation or a marketing campaign and say, this is not working. Or we need more time to determine if this is working or not. But it's not as simple as that. There's nuances to everything. The reasons why something doesn't work can help you decide if you can improve that situation or not. As they say, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So a more in-depth way for me to look at things is to try to analyze what truly we need to stop doing. We've exhausted all ways to make this work. What's working and we need to continue doing and maybe improve on it a little bit. And what we need to start doing because we haven't done, because it's something new that's popped up, because it's something we haven't tested. And to me, when we evaluate any situation, I want all of those three pieces of information. Start, stop, continue. Apparently something that I say a lot, and I actually did not even realize this, actually is another thing I say a lot. So I will do this again. But a thing that I say a lot is have an opinion. I didn't even realize that I do this. But thinking back on videos we've made, things that I say to our clients when it comes to their digital marketing. The other day, though, it was an interesting situation where we were presenting something to a client and I said, have an opinion, but avoid bias. And they challenged me on that and said, aren't those kind of similar? And they aren't. Opinion comes from a place where you've informed yourself. It doesn't have to be a thesis. It doesn't have to be a proven hypothesis. But you've done some thinking, you've read some things, you've collected some information, and you say, okay, based on what I heard, what I saw, my experience, and the thinking that I've done, here's what I think about this matter. Bias comes from a place of a negative experience you may have had that you're now generalizing to an entire situation or a group of people. In an earlier video, I talked about this culture of avoidance that I see all around us. It's an epidemic, another word that I say all the time. We are so afraid of discomfort that we don't speak what we think, we don't speak the truth, we don't confront people. Having an opinion may make you uncomfortable because others may disagree with you. Having an opinion may make others uncomfortable because you disagree with them. But if you do it in a graceful way, it opens the door to dialogue and to people coming together, to improving things, to people coming together to make change happen. This next one is one of my friend and coworkers, Nell's, favorite things that apparently I've said in the time we've worked together, except I'm a little embarrassed because I think it makes me sound a little bit like an asshole. I was invited to help with a story at Fox 32, and it was on a live show, and I went, and everybody said I did great, and Nell said, how do you do it? How come you're not nervous? And I probably said one of the cockiest things I've said in my entire life. I said, I know I'll be okay because the guy after me will be a tool. It's a terrible thing to say, but sometimes I say stupid things. I feel bad about that one, but what I was trying to say is you shouldn't be so scared of new things or being in front of people or sharing your opinion, because so is everybody else. And the person who comes after you may not do that great themselves. So do it anyway. But of course, oftentimes I just spew out things without thinking, especially around people that I'm comfortable with. And I was a cocky asshole that day.
Spirit of America, cocky asshole.
I can't believe you said that. I'm a transplant American. I can't say that I've said that about these videos. I don't think I've ever thought, oh, I I'm gonna be okay because there's a lot of bad videos out there, although that could possibly be true. But in the process of making these videos though, I always compete with myself. I always compete with, how can I do better? What do we need to change? And you do the same thing. We play with the sound, we play with the setup, we play with the structure to see what's gonna work better. So although I may have said that stupid, cocky thing, the reality is that in practice, what I strive for is always improve my own performance compared to myself. So as always, we're gonna have a challenge, because otherwise, how are we gonna make change happen? So my challenge for you this week is to talk to friends and coworkers, or even think back to how you speak. And what are some weird, crazy, cocky things that you may be saying that are impactful, that make people listen, that make people remember what you said? And shoot me a note, let me know what you found out, and I will see you back here next week.